LeBron James. The hypocrisy of LeBron James, it has no limits. The propaganda pushed by LeBron James has no limits. Almost everyone in the mainstream media gives this dude a pass. And I say almost everyone because at least Kendrick Perkins is willing to call him out. Skip Bayless has made a career of calling out LeBron James, but he's scared to go after him on his blatant political propaganda. I can't attack him on his lies. I'm a white man. It would expose my white privilege. I will agree with everything Shay Shay says on the matter and prep my fingers for woke hug insertion. Remember a couple of years ago when Laura Ingraham told NBA players to shut up and dribble? You remember that? Just in case you've forgotten, let me give you a refresher.
It's always unwise to seek political advice from someone who gets paid $100 million a year to bounce a ball. Oh, and LeBron and Kevin, you're great players, but no one voted for you. Millions elected Trump to be their coach. So keep the political commentary to yourself, or as someone once said, shut up and dribble.
When she said that on Fox News, NBA players were outraged. How dare the white devil tell us to shut up and dribble? This is oppression. She wants us silenced. Looking back at it 2 or 3 years later, LeBron and the NBA, they should have listened. Laura Ingraham, she was giving them valuable advice. People don't want to hear political advice from a group of dumbasses who know nothing about politics. People don't want to hear about mythical racism from someone like LeBron James who can't even identify racism. I'll prove that to you in just a second. Anyway, when Laura Ingraham told NBA players to shut up and dribble, LeBron James displayed his fake outrage. He was oh so mad. He was so pissed off. He was so offended that he announced this week that he was filing a trademark on the phrase shut up and dribble. What? Let me get this straight. You are so offended by the sentiment behind that phrase that now you want to make money on it? According to Bleacher Report, LeBron James wants to begin selling merchandise that features shut up and dribble. Clothes, bags, backpacks, cucumbers, hand lotion, butt bongo invitations. Shay Shay Sharp, he's actually asked permission to use the phrase when sending out his woke mating call. Hey LeBron, it's Shay Shay. Please give me permission to use this. I'm looking for lonely men to dribble my balls too. I don't understand how this is even legal. Are you allowed to file a trademark on something that you didn't create yourself? Maybe my lawyers in the audience can let me know the legality of it. If anyone should be filing a trademark on Shut Up and Dribble, it should be Laura Ingraham. I believe she coined the phrase back in 2019. Like I said, the NBA should have listened to her wisdom. Instead of shutting the fuck up about politics, they baptized themselves in the woke holy water and their ratings have declined ever since. Last Friday was the debut of the season premiere of The Shop. Now, for those that don't know, and judging by the ratings when they were on HBO, most don't, The Shop is a talk show hosted by LeBron James. He and his buddies invite on a guest and they talk about mythical racism. Now, the show's no longer on HBO, it's exclusive to YouTube. LeBron claimed they moved so they could reach a global audience, but that's bullshit. The real reason they're on YouTube instead of HBO is because they were drawing Bomani Jones level ratings on HBO. The show was going to get canned. They were going to get canceled. They couldn't find another network willing to pay LeBron James to not draw an audience. Not drawing an audience, that's something LeBron has excelled at the last few years. He's turned millions of people away from watching the NBA. 4 years on HBO, LeBron failed to make the top 150 shows on cable most of the time. During the premiere episode on YouTube, LeBron was asked why he doesn't like fans in Boston. Listen to his explanation.
Why do you hate Boston?
Because they racist as fuck. That's why. Nasty. They will say anything, and it's fine. I mean, fuck, it's my life. I mean, I've been dealing with it my whole life. I don't mind it. Like, I hear it. Like, if I hear somebody like close by, I check them real quick. I move on to the game, whatever the fuck. They're gonna say whatever the fuck they want to say. They might throw something on you. I mean, I got a beer thrown on me leaving the game. You know, like, it's Boston.
It's the only place in the NBA in America you go and they have like shirts that say like, fuck LeBron.
Yeah,
like,
it was like
section.
It was like a fuck LBJ t-shirt. I believe they probably sold it at the fucking team shop.
No, they sold it outside the arena.
No, they sold it at the team shop. I'm Celtics had something to do with that shit.
First of all, LeBron James says that he doesn't mind Boston fans being racist. You really expect me to believe that? You expect me to believe that one of the leaders in the fight to end mythical racism doesn't mind racism? The reason LeBron said there that he doesn't mind is because he's not describing racism. Not one time in that clip did he give one example of experiencing real racism in Boston. This is why I call it mythical racism. Someone throws a beer at LeBron James, he labels it mythical racism. Someone says something that's disrespectful, he labels it mythical racism. It's become abundantly clear to me, LeBron James, he doesn't know what the fuck racism is. The problem is, no one in the mainstream media points this out. They simply run with his created narrative. Headline over at Sports Illustrated: LeBron James absolutely destroys racist Celtics fans. You know what they used to call it when fans booed or yelled something disrespectful at players? You know what they used to call it? Playoff basketball. I want you to think about something for a second. In the sensitive environment that we're living in right now, do you really think a fan could yell something racist at an NBA game and get away with it? If fans in Boston are so racist, how come we've never seen any examples? Look, I'm sure it's happened at some point, but the way LeBron James describes it, racism in Boston is an epidemic. If the mythical R word is so prevalent throughout the city, why is he the part owner of the Boston Red Sox? If I'm understanding this correctly, LeBron James wants to capitalize on Shut Up and Dribble while also capitalizing on mythical racism in Boston. This is why I say all the time, people like LeBron, people like the prepubescent boy Megan Rapinoe, they use social justice for their own personal financial gain. And very few in the mainstream media call them out for it. The only person in the woke media that I've seen call out LeBron on his bullshit is Kendrick Perkins. Every time Kendrick Perkins makes headlines, I gain more respect for him. He's consistently went after Draymond Green, someone who needs to shut the fuck up and dribble. He's calling out LeBron James. This dude is one of the only people working at the worldwide leader in woke that won't let the bullshit propaganda slide. Kendrick Perkins played in Boston for 8 years. Last I checked, he was also a black man. Listen to him respond to LeBron James.
I spent 8.5 years there. And maybe because I was on the Celtics, I didn't experience racism. And I think people who live in Boston and people who move to Boston, like if you play for the Patriots and you're in the New England area, or you play for the Bruins, or you play for the Red Sox, or you play for the Celtics, and you get a chance to get there, you will see it's all different type of cultures and everything. So you actually have to move around the city of Boston. Now, I will say this. The fans in Boston do cross the line and hit below the belt when it comes down to being disrespectful.
There is a huge difference between disrespect and racism. There's a difference between making signs about a member of someone's family and racism. Should fans of the Boston Celtics be going after LeBron's kids, his mother, his family? No. Does that mean they're racist? No. This type of shit's been going on at NBA arenas for decades. Michael Jordan would not allow his young children to attend the NBA Finals in Utah. Why? Because he knew the fans were aggressive. He didn't call them racist. He didn't run to the media and demand that fans change their behavior. Michael Jordan didn't expect everyone else to accommodate him and his family. Unlike these soft-ass players in the modern NBA who expect to be coddled. They expect no criticism from fans and the media. Remember when Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Steve Kerr, remember when they were complaining about the "fuck you Draymond" chant during the NBA Finals in Boston? These fans should be ashamed of themselves. This atmosphere in Boston is not conducive to children. No fucking shit. It's the NBA Finals. It's not a church service at Woke United Methodist, which also wouldn't be conducive to children. God knows what goes on behind the doors of Woke United Methodist. All right, before I get out of here, I wanted to share something new with you guys that I learned earlier today. Before getting to work on YouTube this morning, I attended an online class at Woke U. The course is titled Understanding Tran Dan. The class is taught by RuPaul. It gives students a better understanding of how to be more compassionate to Tran Dan. Now, we've already covered misgendering. You guys know what that is at this point. Misgendering is the improper use of proper pronouns. For example, when I call Megan Rapinoe a prepubescent boy, I'm misgendering. That's bad. This morning in class, we learned about dead naming someone. Casey, what the fuck are you talking about? Dead naming is the act of using someone's real name instead of their alphabet name. For example, Tran Dan was born with the name Danielle. If I refer to him as Danielle, I dead named him. Now, you might think this is funny, you might think it's ridiculous, but dead naming, it's a serious violation of the woke commandments. Don't take my word for it. Go ask Jordan Peterson. Go ask Dave Rubin. They received a Twitter spanking this week for dead naming actor Elliot Page. Elliot was born Ellen Page. For nearly 20 years in Hollywood, that's the name she used. Hundreds of film and television credits feature the name Ellen Page. 2 years ago, Ellen decides to become Elliot, and the entire industry in Hollywood had to edit movie and TV credits to correct the name. Like I say, 100% compliance is not requested, it's mandatory. The Hill explained the philosophy of dead naming better than I can. Watch this clip for yourself.
It's a dead name.
That's crazy.
Why is it?
I don't understand.
Why is that? Why is that any crazier than people change their name? Call me this. Call me this. I prefer to be called
right,
this.
but to not even be allowed to acknowledge that you used to have a different name.
What do you need to be able to acknowledge that for? How are you suffering? Where's your harm? Where's your oppression?
That person lived as a different person for a long time, decades. And so to say that suddenly we all have to pretend like those decades didn't exist and that person wasn't that person for those decades.
You're not forced to pretend that. You just can't.
I understand.
You just can't say it out loud?
No, you can talk.
Right.
Why are we pretending like that is what's happening here? It's very simple.
That is what's happening.
There's a trans man now. Elliot Page, that is their name. That is the name that they go by.
I said him and I said Elliot Page.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Their dead name is their dead name. They don't go by that anymore. They find it dehumanizing or diminishing to their personhood to be called that. And that is what it is. It's not uncommon. People change their names all the time and we use the different names that they go by.
Right.
It happens.
Do you guys understand now? If Danielle is born again and becomes Tran Dan, their entire life before being born again doesn't exist. You're not allowed to reference it. You're not allowed to refer to them by their birth name. I guess they no longer have parents, or maybe they have new parents since they were born again. Hell, I don't fucking know. I took the damn class this morning and I'm just as confused as you probably are. But let me know what you think. LeBron James proving that he doesn't understand racism, claiming Celtics fans are racist because they're mean to him, and damn near the entire mainstream media refusing to call out his hypocrisy and running with his created narrative. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.